Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you to our very first seminar in your very last module in the MBA program with a very long title, Organizational Research and Consultancy Methods and the MBA Project. So let me first congratulate you, yes, with surviving that far, for surviving two, and for some who took some time off, possibly even slightly longer than 2 grueling years. With the usual challenges of part-time study being further compounded by the global pandemic. So you are definitely survivors. You're definitely very, very strong and resilient bunch. And we're now on the last stretch. So there is the light at the end of that proverbial tunnel. And I'm very pleased to see all of you here and reconnect with you and see how you've grown and developed since I've seen you first as the MB newbies in our first module. And of course, I've seen you on and off in our various workshops, residential and online, more increasingly lately now. But kind of formally seeing how you have done and what you're planning to do for what I like to call your crowning glory and the main achievement of this program. So I'm very much looking forward to all of that. Okay, so we're starting today with obviously discussing your research topics, and if you have progressed that far to the research questions. I have reminded you of our early encounters in Module 1 and the format of today's seminar and our forthcoming seminars will remind you of the format back then as well, because I like the work to be very structured. So I have asked you to contemplate and submit your work on one PowerPoint slide. And we will be going through the seminar in the style similar to, remember when you did your individual assignment in your very first module, when you would present your work and I will provide the feedback, and I jokingly called it speed dating because it all has to be considering how many students are in the group. It needs to be all very brisk. So that's how we're gonna work today, and that's how we will be working in the seminars throughout this module. So for starters, i.e. for the first couple of months of the module, our seminar meetings will be fairly frequent, and then there will be a bit more spaced out towards the end when you are concentrating on your work, and I'm just kind of keeping an eye on everything's going and giving you a necessary push and feedback and encouragement and support. So at the later stages. As I've explained in my numerous emails, introductions, welcome messages on Blackboard, I'm the module leader and I'm kind of overseeing your work from kind of bird's eye perspective, but each and every one of you have been assigned a supervisor. And by the way, students who are doing HRM, yes, you do have the supervisor. It was said, to be confirmed. It has been confirmed now. You have a wonderfully experienced colleague, Alison Watson, so you're in good hands. And so your project supervisor is your immediate help and support, and they will be, of course, very versed in broad subject area that you're focusing on. And that's why we asked, regardless of whether you specialize or not, to nominate a particular area, finance, HRM, or marketing. And they, of course, will be helping you with the nitty-gritty, with the details of your project. I will be providing kind of this more broad-based support regarding research methods more generally, and how to begin, conduct, and complete your own independent research project. And of course, it also will be indeed an independent project with our help and support, but you are in the lead, you're in the driving seat with that one. The purpose of the seminars is as I mentioned, for you to present the work, for me to provide the feedback, and also for us to have, well, for us to give you, yes, this extra structure. I'm sorry, I'm gesturing. You can't see me. I can show my face. Yes. I don't want to overwhelm the bandwidth, but I'm gesturing when I'm explaining the support. Hi, by the way, I'm broadcasting still from my living room. That this support, these supporting structures, yes, both the materials that you have and personal support from your project supervisor and me, and my lectures and our seminars. It's all this massive construction to make sure you don't fall, you don't fall and you don't fail. And that's why we have the seminars, yes, for my general guidance. Also to give you have big milestones, of course, in this 6 months journey. Yes, if you have familiarized yourself with the module outline and with description of assessment, you know that you'll first have to submit the project proposal, then you'll need to submit the application for ethics review, and of course, at the very end, you'll have to submit the project report. These are the big milestones, but our seminars kind of create these shorter term milestones, yes, so that at what speed you have to progress and at what points we expect you to have achieved what, or to be working on what part of your project. So that structure, it constrains, but it allows you to work and progress at the speed that would help you to complete the project successfully. So, right. And again, I'm kind of returning in a circular fashion to what the seminars are about. So seminars, you present, I provide the feedback, and not just that, after you present it, okay, sometimes you need to disappear, and I would allow that, but hopefully most of you will be staying throughout the whole seminar. And the purpose of this, and not just listening to the sound of your own voice and the feedback from me to you personally, is because obviously, feedback that I provide to others may also answer some questions that you didn't even think about when you're preparing your own presentation. So that's one big benefit of being engaged throughout the seminar rather than dropping out physically or mentally after you present it. The second one is that sometimes it is the case that students are working on the topics and research questions that are very similar to each other. And obviously your project is not a collaborative piece, but I would very much encourage, if you do have kind of adjacent topics to talk to each other and discuss the issues, particularly when you go through the literature and develop your understanding of your topic. And third, and no less important, the first and the second reason for for engagement, for coming to the seminars, are kind of more specifically content focused and task focused, but there's also a very important emotional, social part to it. This is creating the feeling of being in the same boat. And I'm just thinking about Ryan, because Ryan told me he's now actually on the physical boat because he has to supervise some diving training for his students. And yesterday, because I was in the group one with our captain, Anton Zamuta, it was, keep coming to the metaphor of the boat. And so, speaking of boats, well, you are each in your own boat in a way because you're working on the independent project, but all these boats are kind of in a flotilla of boats that are heading in the same direction, and having the feeling that you're not on your own. Yes, you're not the only one struggling with the strong currents, yes, or battling against the storm and winds is very, very important. And just knowing that, this familial, this groupy, this collective feeling, I think it very much helps you psychologically when you work on what at times might feel a bit of a lonely adventure. That is your project. Okay, now, after this slightly rambling introduction, I think we are ready to have our presenters. We are running in alphabetical order, but because Ryan is supervising 19 teenagers learning to dive, we'll put Ryan first, and then we will come back to the regular alphabetical order. By the way, if you've come today without submitting your slide, that's perfectly fine, because I'll just take what you've got to say verbally. If you haven't thought out yet all the details of your question or topic, that's again perfectly fine. We're here to support your progress, yes, not to judge, not to criticize. So there you are. And depending on how our conversations go, we may overrun. So if you have to disappear at 1 o'clock on the dot, please let me know. Yesterday, I'm sorry, it was the bigger group, but an hour seminar stretched into an hour 45 minutes. So hopefully it's not going to run over hugely, this one, but do be prepared. And as I say, if you need to disappear on the dot, let me know and I'll fast forward to your presentation. Okay, and as it says on the tin, or rather on the slide, you can, if it turns out that this is a persisting problem, then we may need to split this group into 2 subgroups so that we do not take more of your precious time than necessary. Yes, Sandy.
Hi, Olga. It's so nice meeting you again. All the memories are coming back.
Lovely.
I might need to leave because my 5 years daughter is invited to a unicorn birthday party that I can't miss.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely.
Very important reason.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'll then fast forward you as well. Okay, I'll now kind of turn off my video because it does take a little too much of the bandwidth, and you don't need to see me when you're presenting or feedbacking, but I'll reappear again. Okay, so let's start with Ryan, and then move to Santi, and then we will proceed back in the alphabetical. Sorry. Yes, there is a better way of doing it, but anyway, Ryan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Olga. I think I know most of the people in the group just now, but just to set some context, my name's Ryan Sullivan. I'm from Scotland. I've been living in the Middle East for the past 6 years, and at present, I'm essentially a teacher. I'm a music and research specialist at Doha College in Qatar, which is one of the leading British international schools in the world, I suppose, by examination data in the region. I have been for the past kind of 7 or 8 years a middle leader in education. And so to kind of set again the kind of extension of the context of this MBA for me, options do exist for educational leadership MBAs, which I purposefully swerved away from because I feel that by pursuing a generalist MBA, it would challenge me and provoke me to have to carve out my own understanding and application of these contemporary issues as they pertain to my context and my industry. The whole MBA has been rewarding, exciting. I think of all the things I've covered, there's maybe been one small topic that I just couldn't figure out how to apply. It was operations management. I just couldn't I couldn't connect the dots in that one, unfortunately. But certainly the human resource management module with Deborah was just exceptional. It was totally exceptional. And that's why I've arrived at this point. There are kind of two broad themes that interest me that I explained to Olga in the forum. The one I feel myself tending towards is the kind of broader theme of decision making as it pertains to distributive leadership within international schools. The other one was about institutional isomorphism, which is, in my context, essentially, how do you replicate excellence? I'm in a not-for-profit, high-performing model of education. How do you replicate that? However, the reason I've come to the topic on decision-making is because I feel that in our kind of escape from crisis mode globally, where decision-making is then held at the highest possible level, how do senior leaders, and well, certainly in my industry and other industries, let go of those reins, as it were, to pass decision making down again to the appropriate level? Or indeed, if they will ever let go of those reins again. And this is born out of I line manage two pretty big groups of colleagues in work. And I'm obviously line managed myself as a kind of upper middle leader. And the one issue we keep coming back to is this of decision making. So I feel this topic is one that has potential for actionable outcomes pertinent to my setting, my industry. Really, for me, it's about making sure that we carve out a model where decision making takes place at the right level, which is rooted essentially in trust. You have to have trust in the levels and tiers below you, otherwise it becomes a very monopolized sort of decision-making process whereby only the top tiers or the top echelons have the scope, ability, or dare I say, power to make anything happen. I've read quite a bit on this, and there's a lot of literature.
Oops, seem to have dropped for me.
The international education industry. So I feel there's quite a lot to be done there in terms of I could potentially be looking into an area where there's quite thin literature. Not to say that I'm at the level of expertise where I could add to that in any significant way, but even if it's within my context, my industry and my setting, I feel there's value in that. In terms of looking at data collection, I feel it's important for me to tap into my local setting here, look beyond the school I'm working in towards other schools in the area and look at their leadership models, their decision-making matrices and models and frameworks, how that looks at different levels of stakeholdership and try to draw some parallels there or actionable outcomes. Sorry, a student just screamed when they saw me waving them away. And so what I'm looking What I'm looking towards now is to find some literature that maybe points a bit closer towards the areas that I feel myself gravitating towards. That may be literature based on the topic that's currently in process that may well print itself over the next 6 months as I write up this project.
Okay, well, makes perfect sense. Well, first, do not be timid. You will be doing, okay, well, maybe not, academic researcher level, but you will be producing new knowledge, definitely, because you will be working on a specific topic in the context that I'm pretty sure has not been fully explored before. So if you're looking at specific international schools in Doha, well, I doubt there is a literature or research that has been done. So don't have to be modest, and some of our MBA students don't even go on and publish stuff of, well, at least trying at the moment, publish their work in professional journals, and there are some who are even plotting a PhD career afterwards. Not that I'm pushing you towards PhD in academia, but generally, I think yes. In the distant past, probably about 10 years ago, I worked myself in, well, briefly dabbled in the area of distributed leadership in the education. So I'm a bit familiar. I'm not up to date with the literature as it stands now, but I quite know the field, and it is very exciting. And of course, there's quite a lot of stuff that a little bit too theoretical, never touches the ground sufficiently to make it practical, but I think you will be able to make it a connection, and I think you are very much on the right track asking the question. So what kind of decisions need to be taken where? Yes, at what level? Because that's what it boils down to. If we leave like the ivory tower of talking about some philosophical aspects of distributed leadership, it in practice it does come down to which decisions can be taken by whom. And of course, as you said, trust is important, but also skills are important, because people need to be able to make the decisions in an informed manner. So I really looking forward to see how it progresses. In terms of the data, multiple schools, lots of stakeholder groups. In principle, great, but think you've only got 6 months. You don't have research budget. You will be doing it on your own time. So perhaps narrow it slightly. 1 or 2 schools for contrast, or maybe even keep it within your school, which will be perfectly fine. Here, I think the depth, because there is a lot of various aspects of decision making and a lot of practical detail. I think depth would be more important than the breadth. So, as I say, if you can do your school and say a comparator school, and for comparator, I would say maximize the similarities so that you can see the differences more clearly, then it would be great. But even keeping it within your school and trying to come up at the end of your journey with recommendations about how decision-making structures could be changed would be a fantastic outcome that I think will be interesting, from a scholarship point of view, but also will be professionally and practically relevant to
Olga, can I
your
ask a
daily job.
question, please?
Yeah.
That might help me clarify this very, very quickly. If I limit, let's say, the number of schools I'm looking at, I work within a not-for-profit setting where the bottom line is purely educational outcomes. For contrast, could I look towards a for-profit school where it's a sort of double bottom line of profit and educational outcomes? Or does that dilute it further?
I think it will add another layer of complexity. I would compare, as I say, I'll just try to keep the ownership and profit orientation
Yeah.
similar, and if possible, similar size, because
Yeah.
that's essential, yes, for the
Yeah.
structures, organizational and decision-making ones. So does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I was just curious, as you said that, it was kind of settling in my mind. I was wondering how that might look, but yes, I see where you're coming from. So thank you. Yes.
So two nearly identical schools, near twins. Yes. Siamese or identical as much as possible, and then you'll see the difference better.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Thank you.
my connection is dropping. I hope you can all hear me well. Okay, it's back out of red. Okay, well, thank you very much, Ryan. Now, if you need to go and look after your charge.
Thank you so much, Olga, for your understanding. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. I'm looking forward to see how it develops.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we'll move to Sandy. And right, okay. And then we will come back to the normal alphabetical order of things.
Hi.
Right.
So my specialism is general, by the way. I don't know why I wrote HRM. But
well, career development, it makes perfect sense. Yes,
exactly.
it's
Yes.
people management. It's not marketing. It's not finance.
Exactly.
It's not ops. Yes.
Exactly. My research question will be the impact of career development on retention rate, and I do know that it needs more focusing. I'm working on it. I do work in a school, also in an international school in UAE, so it will be mainly in schools and education sector, because all the data will be collected from.
Okay, so keep talking to Ryan. Keep talking to Ryan, even though you're looking at slightly different things, but
very similar.
He's your buddy.
Yeah, he is. So this is why I have chosen the topic. We are a growing school. We started in 2017 with 70 students, and now we are more than 830 students. And I have moved around, like I'm an admin, I'm not teacher, but I have moved around from being the principal assistant to being now to the registration manager. So I did develop my career inside the school, and I was thinking of why in certain school this happen and why in other school this does not happen, and this is where the idea of the research topic came from. I have read a little bit of career development, and I do understand how there is so many factors that affect having a career development organization or not, such as the climate, the culture, the leadership, and also from the other side, the personal characteristics of personality traits and all these. I'm a little bit worried of the empirical research. I'm trying to move forward to the theoretical research. So I am thinking of highlighting the practices that each organization need to implement to increase career development and reduce retention rate.
Okay, there are two paths you can take. Yes. One would be purely practical and focused on your organization. Don't be afraid of empirical research. It's fun, and it's really helps you develop your communication skills, your writing skills, your analysis, everything. Just fantastic training ground for your management career. And so you can look at the existing career development policies and practices, and you can try to figure out how to improve it. It would still require you, and that, by the way, applies not to Sandy, but to everyone else, yes? You still, regardless of what you do, yes, you will need to do a thorough literature review. You will be learning about, you know, the latest research evidence relating to your question. Yeah. But there's always, you know, the next step. So now you know what the literature tells you. You as a practicing manager and as a person who wants to develop their own career, yes, how do you then translate this evidence into actionable recommendations? Yes. So
Yes.
I can clearly see how you could, you know, after doing this literature review, then go and in the context of your school, look at the opportunities, look, you know, what potential career development paths are there, how to provide sufficient support for those who want to develop their career, what supports, what structures, what policies need to be implemented or added to the existing ones. And that would be a lovely project. And that probably will show to senior management in your school that you are capable of doing something strategic. Yes, that you're worthy of senior leadership position, and it could help you with your own career development.
Mhm.
The alternative, you can't just do completely, you know, desk-based research. It's one student per cohort, sometimes less than one, for a variety of reasons. Choose to do it and choose a path of purely reviewing the literature, but not just kind of some random literature review. There is a very strict methodology about how to do it. You may remember the word systematic review and meta-analysis from our first module. You would not be required to do either because that's kind of beyond your resources. But you could do something called rapid evidence assessment, and that would be purely desk-based research, and purely will be kind of first searching for and then examining the literature on very specific topic. So that's a possibility. But I think what may be better for you in career development terms is do something that you can then show to your, you know, to your boss or boss's boss, to demonstrate your ability to undertake a project and come up with practical recommendations. And by the way, you know, and again, that applies not just to Sandy, but to anyone else who are doing studies of their own organization, but kind of just still trying to finesse, you know, refine, narrow their topic. Talk to your boss, or talk to your boss's boss, or talk to whoever is the person responsible for the area in which you're working, and see whether you can find a middle ground between your project and what they may need to find out. Yes. So if there is an HR person or someone who is responsible, maybe there's no one responsible for career development in your school, that's perfectly fine. Yes, then, you know, go to someone who generally is responsible for the people side of business and say, that's what I'm planning to do. You know, is that of interest? Is there a particular angle that you're interested in? And is there anything that you would like me to include in my research project that would help with your strategic decision making. Does that make sense? Kind of, and they might say no, and they don't care and whatever, and that might not work, and that's perfectly fine. But well, first of all, you will be signaling to them that you're doing it, and they may be receptive, and they may be interested, and in many cases, organizations are jumping at the opportunity, because there's always, remember when we talk decision making, main stumbling block is, yeah, you would like to make best possible decisions, but there's so many constraints and time and resource constraints, and simply amassing the evidence to make the best decision. And so you will be doing someone a favor, by taking off the load of their desk, and well, at least helping them in a particular area of decision making by doing your research, by finding research evidence, by doing the specific research within your organization, and really you might, they might jump at your offer. So yes, so think about it, and talk to whoever you think would be the person responsible or interested in this kind of discussion, so that the project is mutually advantageous.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Does
thank you
that
very
make
much,
sense?
Olga. Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay, excellent. And now off to that unicorn party. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. See you
Bye,
later.
Sanji.
Bye.
We now back to the normal order of things, and let's see. Oops. That is for the first person. Okay. Floor is yours. Roa,
Hello.
ready to present?
Yes, I am, but you can hear me well? Hi, Olga.
Yes,
Hi,
yes,
how
I
are
can.
you?
I'm very well, thank you, and lovely to have you on board, and really looking forward to hear what you are thinking of doing. I mean, I've already browsed and I realize it's finance and SMEs, but tell us more.
Yes, it's finance and SMEs. Yes, my specialism is finance. But to be honest, still the topic is extremely broad. I'm not specific in something. I've been thinking, because I've relocated my job position to Egypt, to another company, but it's related to lighting, design and supply. And I was planning to do something that is related to the organization I work for, since I'm specializing in finance, and related to the decision-making process in SMEs, for the SMEs that do supply and design. That's the idea that I have in mind, but still I need to do literature search about it. I know. And I'm not quite sure how to start and how to narrow my search down, because I want to combine something to the organization that I'm working for, but to have the MBA project well. Yes.
And it's not about, because I know that there's a very big area of research on access of SMEs to finance, to external finance. Is that about that? Is that about access to finance, or is it about, okay, right, okay, well, that's great. So, just your topic will be about the SME
finance
access.
impact and decision making in SMEs. Yes.
Okay. Yes, but I'm talking about, is it about access to external finance essentially, or is it about some internal?
Both, actually.
Okay.
Yes, both.
Right.
Both, yes.
My knowledge of finance is nearly non-existent. So how to tie in the, say, the external and internal side of it in SME context, baffles me. But what you need to do is you need to speak to Panayotis, with your
Yes.
supervisor, and he will help you craft the topic. But essentially, I think the question in your case will be, how will you get access to the data? So here, since you're not
Okay. Can I
Um,
ask a question?
yeah, go ahead.
Is it possible that to narrow down the access to the data to one organization and bring it as a case study, for example? Is it possible to have something like that?
Yes. Unless you are doing a study of access to finance where you need to compare different organizations, then you need to have different organizations. But in principle, yes, you can do a study of your own organization. Yes.
Yes.
That would be the plan. And
Yes.
then and probably, again, as I was suggesting for Santi, some way of
Doctor.
developing recommendations that could then be implemented. Yes, well, at least presented to the senior management who
Yes, I
would.
have to tell them, of course, as
Uh-huh.
I will do an interview with him. That's one
Mhm.
of the yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, but apart from interviews, you want to come up with some, actionable proposals. Yes,
Yes.
at the
Okay.
end of it.
Okay.
So not,
We'll keep you updated.
not just interview, but also show the product, the output of
Yes, of
research,
course.
which
Yes.
should probably be somewhere along the lines of improving some aspect of financial decision making in your organization.
Okay.
Would that be
Yes, I think.
reasonable? Okay. So
Yes. Okay.
sounds good. So kind of specific details, talk to Panayotis and he'll help you craft it, but
Yes, of course.
it's
Do.
it's highly desirable that you do it for your own organization. And just as I was suggesting earlier, again, might be worthwhile talking to whoever is the top gun in the decision making on the financial side, whether there is any particular aspect of the process that they are curious to know more about. So just
Okay.
as I was telling Santi, might be worthwhile, having an informal chat saying that's what you're doing. And if there's anything that they think you may be able to do that will help the whole organization.
This is the main idea. That's why I'm planning to use the
Mhm.
organization as a case study. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that, of course,
Right.
and definitely will keep you updated. Definitely.
Yes. Well, yes, but do make an appointment with Panayotis as soon as possible
Yes,
because you
sure.
need to figure out the specific angle.
Yes, of course.
Fantastic. Sounds
Thank you.
very good indeed. Right. Amal, I know you haven't submitted, or at least haven't submitted until 15 minutes before the start of the class. But will you be able to tell us what you're planning to do? Roughly somewhere in the area of HRM or B
Yes.
or...
Hi, Olga. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry I didn't submit. It has been very hectic, but I know there is no excuse. I should have submitted the work to you, so apologies for that. I managed to write down the things that based on the table I saw the others have done. So I'm not specialized in HRM, although the option model I chose was, it's a general MBA, but I studied the strategical HRM.
Okay.
My project topic will be very related to performance improvement from HR perspective, how we can improve the business performance through HR activities. The research question, can I say something? I have
Yeah. Go ahead. You know, that's totally
I
free flowing. Yeah.
I have two topics that I didn't make my mind yet of which one to choose. But the first one would be this business and performance improvement, and the research question would be to what degree HR can contribute to the business improvement in advisory or consulting department. Okay. So this is something in my organization that I've noticed.
And what's your
Where
organization? Remind all of us.
yes,
What's
of
your
course.
line of business? Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, I have around 15 years of experience. 13 years of them were only in human resources, sometimes as an officer, a manager, specialist, different roles. I've went through all HR operational activities, and even in strategic and budgeting and all of these. So I am very much knowledgeable and have experience in human resources. And also I have certificates in human resources management. And that's why I studied strategic human resources management in the last module. And
Right.
I used to work in HR departments and in international schools in Riyadh, where I'm based. However, during the last year, I've decided to change my career, and I decided to go to the business sector or corporate sector instead of educational sector, as I was thinking I'm missing a lot of the business world. So I said it's time to change. So I am now working in KPMG Consulting Services company. Yes, in Riyadh, and my position is administrative specialist. But my position is very much evolving to become, I think starting March, I will be business support lead for performance improvement. All right. So the areas I'm focusing on right now is providing senior managers and partners in KPMG with like analytical reports about the progress in our recruitment and in the training and development of our staff. So that's what caused me thinking about talking about this, because I've noticed that the HR department is very disconnected from the business, and they have this, for example, a list of procedures and policies that they are following, but it is very much affecting negatively the business and the ability to recruit people on time, so they are on their projects. Because of these reports that I make about recruitment every week and I provide the managers about, I've had the chance to work closely with HR. And I found that there are many problems in the communication, and that the current procedures are not updated and are not aligning with many different procedures in other departments. And that caused a lot of problem. And also the hiring, there is no strategical planning. So they don't have a strategic plan in recruiting certain talents. So what they do is just they post this advert, and whoever apply, they send everything without even screening them to directors and managers for them to see one by one.
Oops, you disappeared, Amal. Right, lost you. Amal. Hello? Hello?
Apologies, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's a yes. You're back.
All right. So basically what I mean is that there are many things that could be improved in terms of
Well,
yeah.
All you need to do, Amal, you just choose one, because you already listed several, strategic approach to recruitment, specific recruitment policies. You also said there's what are the other issues? You can yes, development of the current employees. You can take any one of those. Yes, don't take them all together. That's going to be too much. Yes,
Yes.
but decide which one of these you think is most ripe. Which problem is most ripe for solving? Yes, or the most critical, or would have, you know, the biggest impact. Yes, so and focus on that, and it will be a fantastic project, and it would be very useful for your business, and it will demonstrate to your senior leadership team what you're capable of.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I totally agree. I just have to choose either I focus on the skills analysis and the skills gap and how we can use this to choose the right candidates, if you want, and how it's linked to the required skills we need for projects, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And that's pretty much yeah. Well, you've nearly, you know, defined your topic and the question.
Yes. And then the
That sounds
related
very good.
literature will be, I think there are many things and many researches about training and development, and there are many methods that in literature where I can use in terms of identifying skills needed for the business.
Yeah, exactly. But also, you know, since your key will be, well, you'll need to decide really where your key focus from there will be. Will it be on further training once you get employees in, or will it be on changing the recruitment strategy and communications and everything and practices and making sure you get the right skills in?
Okay, so probably I would
So
focus more on not from the recruitment side. I would focus on identifying required skills from the business, things like that, because then the business will, as a result, connect with the recruitment team with what will they come out with after they do this analysis of skills that they need, because they know the projects, they know what kind of team they want, what skills they need, and then they can also advise what kind of certificates. It's not the HR who can come and say you need to be trained in this course and another. It's the business itself.
Okay, makes sense. Well, there you go. So with 4-minute conversation, and we have pretty much narrowed your
Yes, thank you.
your thinking to a specific area and specific topic. So very good, very well done, Amal. And yes, well, congratulations on being courageous and taking a leap and moving from one sector into a different sector, you know, from education to consulting. So that's great, and
yes, thank you.
fantastic. Okay, well, thanks, Amal. Noof. I'm sorry, guys, we are running over. Most definitely.
Hi, Olga.
Hello.
Hi, how are
Lovely
you?
to hear you.
Nice to hear you. It's you too again. So I don't know if you remember, but I'm a physician, so I'm a little bit away from the business sector until I joined my MBA. And I've specialized
I
in.
do remember you. You
Yeah.
were a doctor.
Yeah.
After all. See, as it says on the tin.
Yeah.
And by the way, whilst you're talking, I want Shinji to pay particular attention because you have
Similar,
yes,
questions.
similar
Yeah.
themes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I've specialized in marketing, and my question is basically around marketing strategies and its influence on physicians. I actually can tackle the subject from different angles, and I've already talked to my supervisor, and she've asked me to formulate at least the 3 questions, and then we can probably meet and talk about them. So what I've put here in my slide is very broad, but it's around the area of my, research topic. So the question will be around the impact of the current marketing strategies on the drug-eluting stent. It's basically a device that we use in my specialty, and it's one of the most commonly used devices. And we have like different companies who supply us with different kind of stents, and I would like to know what drives our decisions in terms of which stent to use, because we do have evidence that supports some of them over the others. However, we do have as well some other limitations that would influence our decisions. And I would like to, have a look at, I can look at it actually from 3 different angles. The first angle is the marketing strategy or the marketing tools that are used by the medical device companies. And are they relying on relationship marketing or evidence-based marketing? That's one angle. I think my limitation here is the limited number of companies that I can reach to, and the accessibility. And I don't know if they're going to cooperate with me in terms of what kind of strategies they're using. The other angle I can look at is the influence of those marketing tools or strategies that are applied currently on the physician practices in general, or the stent market in the cardiac cath labs in Saudi, or I can narrow it down to one city. So
okay, narrowing, yes, the
Yeah.
narrow is better. And since you don't
Probably.
have, as you say, access to companies who produce and market the stents, focus on physician decision making, because you're a physician, you will have the common language with these people, and you can recruit your participants for your interviews or focus group or survey, whatever you would want to do, through your professional networks. Yeah. Does that make sense?
So I was thinking to actually probably narrow it down to one city, or even if it's in Saudi, to the physicians who are practicing in this specific field.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
those are the group we can easily communicate, and I can just send them an email with a survey.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
And it will give me also access to a bigger, number of physicians. And the thing that I can actually add to the question, but I'm going to discuss this with my supervisor, is whether there is any difference in the physician practices between the public sector and the private sector, because most of them do work in both sectors. So maybe this will be an additional angle to the question. But
Absolutely, absolutely, because that will seriously impact the decision making, and it also might be interesting to see, yes, if it's say if if the physician in her private practice is using a different device from the one she uses in her public practice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. You're pretty much there. So focus on physicians. Or on physicians using this particular thing. Do not limit it to a city. There's no reason to limit it geographically. Yes. But reach out to physicians using this through your professional networks, and that will be brilliant, and that would be super useful. And I'm sure Shinji will will pay good money for results of this research.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Noof, and great you've already been in touch with your project supervisor. Very well done.
Okay.
Very
Thank you.
proactive. Okay, Ala, tell us what you're planning to do.
Well, actually, apologize for not submitting any slides for today's seminar. The
That's
issue is
okay.
lazy rather than I went through both Unit 1 and 2 to how you formulate and what kind of question that you need to build in your thesis. However, until now, Dr. Olga, I did not conclude for the topic of my project. However, my specialty is on finance, and I have in mind one main project or one main topic that I want to present in my thesis. But until now, I did not conclude on it because I still need to check roughly on the library research if the data will be available and this kind of topic will be valid. However, my project topic will be on the strategic and financial decision related to distribution channel management. I'm working in a medical device company. Yes, I'm working in a medical device.
More medical devices! Fantastic. What? Oh, we will have
Yes.
a small subgroup then, North and Shinji and Ala, and you can both do knowledge exchange.
Yeah, actually,
Excellent.
even the subject that Nof presented is we have part of company portfolio is working with the drug-eluting stent and with the cardiac cath labs. My company name is Medtronic. I'm based in Saudi market. I'm covering a special portfolio related to patient monitoring and respiratory intervention, the whole Saudi. I have also a previous experience with the same company covering the rest of Gulf countries. Okay, so my question research will be now to decide whether a multinational device companies need to go direct or work through distribution channel management. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it's a why I choose this one because it's a hot topic now in Saudi with the 2030 vision, where there are a lot of restrictions on a multinational companies whether they still need to work through local Saudi distributor or they need to go direct in Saudi market. I have been involved in the past in my company implementing one of these projects in Saudi. To take over the business from the old distributor and start working directly in Saudi. Yes, so this is the reason why I choose this topic.
Okay.
Yes. For the
Well,
related
sounds
to this
like you are quite there really with your topic. I think just need to discuss with your project supervisor what's the best angle and what kind of data you will need. But I think you are from where I'm sitting. It seems that you're fairly clear. So that's really good work. Really good work.
Yeah, I think it's very important subject because we have a lot of examples, especially here in Saudi, for companies like GE, where they started in the past. They were from the pioneer to take the business direct in Saudi. Unfortunately, they failed, and they went back to the distribution channels.
Yeah.
We are in Medtronic. We started this project since 2015. We still this kind of strategic decision is working, and we feel that it's, from such kind of decision. The topics related to this literature I want to discuss is, as I said, let's say the impact, the financial impact of going direct versus the distribution channel management. The future of particular acquisition for either other distribution channels in the sales and the production cycle, whether backward or forward acquisition, which is not yet we don't have such things happen in Saudi. I'm not gonna narrow my research to Saudi, okay? But I will take the example from my current company and also from others company that I worked with in Saudi in Saudi in the past. The data I would need to collect is for sure from the research and library approved literature.
No. Let me stop you there. When we're talking about collecting the data, it's not about reading books and journal articles. Yes, it will be what kind of data you will need to prove that, you know, particular form of vertical integration or particular form of distribution, either direct or via a distributor, is associated with better financial performance. So you need to think clearly what kind of data you will need from Saudi, from the Gulf area, whatever, and whether this data is there. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, the data that I want to have, I mean, practically during the empirical evidence that I want to show will be related to the financial performance of such projects, questionnaires linked to interviews with the major stakeholders that they are working in a different function with organization like
again too much. I you know, I'm pleased to hear that you're ambitious, but you're talking about 3 different projects. Yes, one will be based on the actual, you know, documentary data, if you can get financial reports from these companies. A totally different one will be in interviewing some key decision makers who probably are not going to tell you much about the financial side, I'm afraid. So you'll need to think carefully. Well, start with other financial data. You know, can you get financial data from publicly available reports to make your point or to prove your point?
so you
If
mean
not,
yes.
If not, then you'll need to think, you know, what kind of information interviewing people will give you, and also who would you able to interview, and you know how many companies will be keen enough to share with you. Well, if not financial data, they're not going to share those with you. But who would be open enough for an interview that without that talking about
I
the
think this
details
is
of
the
financials,
challenging
what they
part.
would be. Yes, well, so that's why I want you to be aware of these challenges and think, you know, what you can feasibly do now before before you go any further. So, you know, first have a look if there's any publicly available data. If there isn't, then see, you know, how many contacts do you have in different organizations with financial managers who are really kind of good friends of yours? Yes, because
No,
you can't
I have
you
actually.
can't call these people. Yes.
Yeah. I have a connection, but my only concern is about the legality of sharing such information. I mean, will they be exposed legally in case they share such kind of information? Maybe you are right. I need to.
Yeah, well, then you will need to be collecting the information that they that would not expose them. Yes, then you will be limited in the kind of questions you will ask. So again, think about that. What kind of questions would be?
I mean, Olga, I mean, yes, we know that the financial information is very sensitive, and not everyone is allowed, even if he's willing to share, he's not allowed to share.
Yeah.
But I mean, I may be able, I don't know if I can drive this into qualitative more than a quantitative, not disclosing a financial number rather than talking about performance like market share, cost saving, all of these things. I don't know if this is going to work or not.
Okay, well, first of all, see whether there's publicly available information, first and foremost. What's there?
Yes.
Yes, on these companies.
Okay.
because you know there might be enough in their annual reports for you to collect the data from there. Yeah. So
Exactly.
have a look at this first, and then and then discuss whether you would want to go more qualitative route. So okay. So have a look first at what's publicly available, and talk to Panayotis next.
Okay.
Right? Does it make sense? Okay, very good. Well, but at least you know the area. You just need to figure out whether the data is there, because the data can make or break a project. Islam, have no idea, disappeared. Samuel, and sorry guys, my apologies for keeping you way past your bedtime, but
Hi, Olga. Nice to talk to you again. No worries,
yes.
it's not past my bedtime. Yeah. So it's only 8 p.m. in Singapore. Yes.
Okay, so you've done. Let me just show. Samuel already done preliminary lit review. So look, very impressive.
Okay.
Right. So go ahead.
Okay.
Something on sustainability and performance.
Yeah. So I think why I chose sustainability, because I'm working currently in the maritime sector, and as a vessel owner, and my business is to charter vessels to clients overseas. So in this industry right now, the buzzword is about sustainability. It's about reducing carbon emissions, and there is no way that you can avoid the buzzword of reducing carbon emissions nowadays. And I think even outside of this industry, whenever you read an annual report, there's always a section of big companies' annual report is dedicated towards sustainability. I was fortunate enough that my company sent me on this course earlier this year on sustainability. So that really piqued my interest in this subject area. Although in my work, I do not really have to implement any sustainable strategies, but I think this is one area which I really do have an interest, and that's why I kind of have in my head, I know what I want to do, and also quite easily I managed to come out with this question. So going towards the question, so I want to examine the causality between a company's adoption of ESG into their core business strategy versus the impact on actual business performance. So to ask another question is ESG or sustainability just a cost center to a company, or does it reap tangible benefits to the company? So I want to really find out if the company, by adopting green kind of strategies, will they increase their profits in terms of their profits? I think at the end of the day, to a company, management is the objective is to maximize the shareholders' returns. So I want to find out whether it's this green sustainability at odds with maximizing shareholders' returns, or is there a correlation between the two of them? Right.
Okay, and there is, as you have shown, there's quite a lot of literature on that. And I guess for you, the key will be trying to find the area, the sector where there hasn't been any research. Yes.
Yeah.
So if Singapore Stock Exchange is something that hasn't yet been explored in the literature, okay.
Yeah.
If there are like 10 articles on that already, then probably not.
I think that's why when I read the literature, I think it's been discussed. I divided it into such sections because I think it's been discussed in Europe, in America, and in Asia, but not in Singapore yet. And also, there's SMEs, small medium enterprises. So in Asia, it's been discussed in several countries, but not in Singapore. So I thought that the interesting thing is to do it with regards to my home country, because also the SGX, Singapore Stock Exchange, has this mandatory reporting requirement, and I think that information will be quite easy for me to retrieve.
Okay, that sounds good. An alternative, of course, is to do it for industry. If you're in maritime industry, then it's you can do it on your own industry if that's a hot topic, but it's totally up to you.
Yes.
So, and since it's so international, there may be issues with like different reporting, data presented differently, and keeping it within Singapore is probably just going to be easy in terms of cleaner data.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, sounds perfect. and obviously, your job will be even easier because essentially all the models have already been developed. Yes, so you know what dependent variables are, what independent variables are, and are you comfortable with statistical analysis?
No, not to the extent, when I read in papers, not that kind of statistics. But I thought that I can compare, like, because I'm looking at financial performance, so I thought that I can compare financial indicators such as, easy to read, like the EBITDA lines or the net profit after tax. So I thought that, that could be something that I could be looking at, the tangible benefits towards the shareholders.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you if that's what you want to do, you will need to prepare yourself to learn a bit more statistics and possibly statistical package that Panayotis recommends to everyone. I'm just assessing that you're not quant averse, that you're not averse to statistics
Uh,
generally.
I did a module in university, so hopefully, it will come back to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you have a little bit of a background, yes.
Yeah.
And you would need to know a huge amount. And these days, software does pretty much everything for you. You just need to feed it intelligently. So Panayotis will advise on that.
Okay.
Okay, well, very, very, very good. And as I say, already obvious, quite a lot of research. So you've done half of work for the next seminar, essentially.
Oh, that's good.
That will be on preliminary literature review. Okay, Rashmi.
Hi, Olga. Hi, Dr. Mula. So basically, for me, it's for me a very wide sort of a topic, e-leadership. Uh, why I chose this topic especially is because we went through a reorganization few years ago. A major change that came out of this reorganization was the leaders play for the team engagement and empowerment. Previously, we did have in our organization the managers and leaders within the same location, and the difference that it makes to the employees or to the team members was very different from the current scenarios where our leaders are based elsewhere. And also with the event of COVID, what we've seen is a lot of virtual team meetings. So even the visits from the managers from across Europe and UK to Middle East region has been very less, and how it has impacted the team engagement and empowerment basically. Uh, the whole reason why I choose this topic is because we really want to show a proposal to our management, whether it would be feasible to have a local leadership in the location. uh, but again, for me, the challenge is this topic is quite vast, and it's very easy to sort of move away from the main topic and probably focus on a lot of different areas under leadership. So that's the main challenge that I face here, and probably the question is also something very generic rather than specific. So that is why I really want to work on the topic of e-leadership, especially compared to the traditional role of leadership. but the challenge that I see is it's quite vast, and I really look forward to some comments and feedbacks on how I can sort of streamline it and more focused.
Right. Okay. Well, what's your company? What do you do?
So
I mean,
basically,
what does your company does? Yes.
so basically, it's a large organization, and we are a sales company for engineering, for an engineering, oil and gas, as well as motion and control group. So it's more like a sales firm.
Right, right. Okay, because that's important because leadership is very contextual. Yes, and if we're talking about leadership and what's leadership, so that everyone knows, it's basically exercising leadership through electronic means, such as all the means you've been exposed to so so broadly in this course and throughout your year and a half of pandemic. Virtual meetings, emails, mobile communications, and so forth. So, and it is about really balancing the not virtual with the virtual. So, and in your case, it will probably be, you said, face-to-face leadership decreased considerably. Yes.
Yes.
You'll need to figure out what you need face-to-face leadership for. Yes, what the virtual leadership does not quite deliver. Yes. If you're making the case that you need a little bit more face-to-face rather than virtual, and that may relate to how you do your business, yes, and that selling particular type of product does need, for some reason, physical presence as opposed to virtual presence. That there's something lost if things are done purely virtually, or maybe some model that makes virtual a little bit closer to traditional is needed. So that's as you say, and rightly so, it's a vast area, but if you narrow it essentially to the concerns within your organization and explore it within the context of your organization with very specific focus on what needs to be done, when and how. Yes. Because in various types of businesses, although kind of generic headlines for what leaders do are the same, the practicalities of leadership differ. And so you need to figure out what are the practicalities of leadership, yes, in your organization, and how this could be, and what are the best means of doing which parts of leadership through what means. Okay, so kind of going from fairly broad to actually very narrow and specific in the context.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because well, leadership, well, as Noof would say, leading doctors or nurses is very different from whoever will tell us, do we still have the educators, from leading teachers, from leading sales teams. Yes, because the kind of people differ, the jobs they do, the kind of support they require, the kind of both task oriented and relationship oriented guidance differ. So you will be looking at very, very specific case and kind of dissecting what things leaders need to do and what are the best ways of doing them. I think that's really, really, really great. So rather than talking in very broad terms, you will be going from, yeah, we'll be talking about the leadership and virtual teams and how it's performed. Effectiveness is difficult to establish. Yes, well, it could be impressionistic, what do followers say? In terms of more hard outcomes, rather difficult. But what you can be thinking about is basically a balance of physical co-presence with virtual. And I think that's an important angle to the e-leadership.
Thanks, Dr. Olga.
Okay, so yeah, and then you will develop your thinking. So we'll starting from there, and that's where you'll go. Okay. And in your case, for the empirical side, you could simply be talking with, the teams and establishing the demands of the teams and trying to figure out what are the best ways to fulfill these demands. Because each time, well, each team or maybe some teams will have different needs, yes, for leadership. And would be nice, you can have interviews, you can have focus groups. So is essentially, establishing their demand, also possibly collecting their opinions on, because they have been led, yes, and they already know which ways of being led are better than others. So they may give you some interesting and important impressions on that. Righty ho, moving on. Gordon, nope. Santi's done. Shinji. Oh, sorry, Rashmi. Did you want to ask me something, or do you need to disappear?
No. I said sorry to Amal. I didn't
Okay.
mute my phone. That's why.
Okay. Right. Okay. Shinji.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. Well, I thought it's gonna take longer. Kind of surprised that it's already my turn.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're already half an hour over time. I do apologize.
Yeah, I thought it's gonna be my 10 p.m.
Oh, cool.
Well,
Oh, cool,
anyway,
Shinji.
so as you mentioned already, my topic is somewhat related to NOFs. So project topic is on relationship marketing, especially relationship marketing strategy of medical device industry, where I work. So the question here is how is its influence on decision making related to medical device selections by healthcare professionals perceived, especially in Japan. So I like to research, perspective both from healthcare professionals and the industry. You go on to the next slide. So I chose the topic because, as I said, I work as a marketer in a medical device manufacturer, and while building and strengthening relationship with healthcare professionals is one of the key strategies, key marketing strategy for most of medical device and pharmaceutical companies. But I realize, there are multiple literatures debating its, potentially controversial influence on ACP's decision making. And also, this is the finding, from the previous module. And also, I learned that there seems to be few publications, focused on this topic in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And also regarding the literature, so relationship marketing in B2B in general, in addition, relationship marketing in medical device and the pharmaceutical industry, and its impact to healthcare professionals' decision making in terms of product selection. Also, this industry is highly regulated, and also there are regulations such as codes of conduct in the industry. So these are the literature and also information I need to find, and this part I think it is clear to me what I should do, but I expect I expect challenges when it comes to primary research, because I have I have access to a lot of people in the industry, but from my current job, I don't have a strong network, with physicians whom I can ask this kind of a bit touchy questions.
Okay.
That,
You
so
can interview Noof.
yeah, but
You can
if
interview
I
Noof, but it's
if I
unfortunately it's
limit
too far. I
to
guess you need
this
someone Japan. Yeah.
perception, yeah. Yeah, well, actually, if I don't limit to Japan, I may have some network, because I also have an experience working in US for 2 years, and I still have my ex-colleagues, who have strong relationship with physicians in the US. But my focus is Japan, because I think there are fewer publications on this specific topic. So if I limit to Japan, it will be a bit more difficult. So that's what I'm starting to struggle. But
Okay.
other than that, I think I'm clear in what I need to do.
Now, maybe, well, I have two suggestions, and they may not be particularly useful because you know the lay of the land better than I do. One would be if you have good contacts in your industry, so medical device industry, then to interview people who are selling to physicians rather than physicians, and ask them about their strategies and challenges. Right, so taking the topic from the seller rather than the buyer
Industry
perspective. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's
got that. Yeah, that may be one option actually. Yeah.
And another option might be, through one of your buyers, just see what are there are obviously some broad professional associations of physicians, but something that would be more specifically, smaller professional association. Anyway, going via professional association of physicians, yes, and contacting them and saying, would they allow you to access and survey their members? That might be more challenging.
I see your point, but I think that will be very difficult, because of the hierarchy in Japan, between industry and physicians. It's probably difficult to ask this type of question from. I'm not gonna represent my company, but that will be very difficult. I see. So what I can probably do is that medical affairs director in my company is actually a physician who still practices. So I may ask her if she can help me to leverage
I
her
think
network to get some information.
Shinji, I think then it's back to plan A. Yes, and get the buyer, the seller perspective, the industry perspective on that. And I mean, there will be actually easy to reach, and they will know more than physicians themselves. Yes,
Mm.
because they are the ones that are selling, and they do know what are the main issues and what are the main problems and what works and what doesn't work. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and also, if I do survey in Japan, that has to be in local language. Would it be okay to do that? I mean, like I of course,
Yes,
make
of
the
course,
English
of course.
version and translate to Japanese.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Of course, absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
Then my current plan is to stick with industry perspective.
Yes, then it will be doable. Yeah. Well, sounds good. You have excellent topic. I know it's super important because
Yeah,
well, Noof will tell you how important it is. You know how important, and I know it's kind of very interesting because across different cohorts, in every cohort we have at least one person from the medical devices industry, and this kind of question pops up quite frequently in both kind of individual
yeah.
assignments and then in
You remember
projects. And
Bumi, right?
yes,
Bumi,
yes.
gynecologist,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And we also, oh gosh, what's his name? Chap who just finished his
Mm.
project, who's in America and California and works for a medical device company.
I see.
Right, sorry, brain freeze.
Yeah. There's one more person. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yes, so yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Thank you very much.
very
Appreciate
good,
it.
very popular. Thank you. Now Ahmed, what are you planning to do? Ahmed, sorry, I can't hear you. And again, my massive apologies to everyone. I know it's like the second hour. Ahmed, are you there? Or you have gone off? I can't hear you, I'm afraid. I can see that you're trying to speak because the little microphone icon pops up, but I can't hear. So yeah, maybe reconnecting will do the trick. Right, try again, Ahmed. Nope, no joy. Maybe issues with connection. Let me see who else we've got. Ryan's done. Okay, so, and yes, Gladys, I know you're still there. Ahmed, I still have no connection. I mean, I have connection. I can see that your internet connection is good based on the number of bars next to your name, but I can't hear anything. Right. Okay. Okay. Well, right. Okay. Well, then we'll leave it till next time. Yes, and then I presume you will. Okay. I can give it time. How about I'll take Gladys now because Gladys was supposed to come yesterday, but she couldn't know there was some miscommunication. Gladys, I probably will need to load your presentation from yesterday. Okay, let me disconnect from, stop sharing one, start sharing another. Yep. It's loading, Gladys. Just
okay. Thank you.
give me a
Thank you so
second.
much.
Right, let me get to your slides. There we go. There we are. So do you want to be in this group, or is it just kind of happenstance? Would you rather be on Thursdays, on Fridays?
No, I'm fine on Thursdays. It's just that I had a
I don't know what happened.
Miscommunication. That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
communication. Yes. So I guess it will be just for today. I want this step going forward. Thank you for the opportunity. And my name is Gladys, and my research project topic, I have decided to go with the challenges of retail banking to the rural populations in Botswana, which will be a case study zoomed to be for one organization, which is FNBB. You will get further clarity as I speak to why I chose the topic. So I wanted to understand the challenges the bank is facing in its effort to provide the banking services in rural areas in Botswana. And my interest really came from the fact that I have worked for this bank for I think 8 years now. I started here from when I started graduating, and then found my way up until where I am at. And I started as a frontliner, so I know our customers, and I know our people, and I also understand the population of Botswana, as we all know, is just hovering around 3 million, and Botswana is just a country that is still developing. So my interests were really coming from the mere fact that, well, since I've explained that I was frontliner, so I got to understand our clients and segmentation in all our segmented positions. So I also have the privilege to then find my way up and be a manager and be able to tap on the bank strategy where it's going. And also after COVID came, it posed pressure on speeding up certain strategies that we thought they would unfold in the coming years, which was now really pushing technology to the people of Botswana. And the banks are really now being structured and pushing so hard that it could happen like in no touch point, but rather branchless and cell phone banking, online banking, and banking app. All these things are just happening at the moment. So I couldn't help but wonder, what are the challenges of providing banking services in the rural areas in Botswana? So I chose this, like I said, because of what I have already mentioned, and the mere fact that I'm zooming into FNB as a leading bank in Botswana, both by market share and even profit-wise. It's just the core bank here, and I wanted to understand even further how, because it really is tapping into other countries, especially developed, highly developed, and they're adopting their technological insights of retail banking. So I needed clarity to find out what are the challenges the bank is actually facing into providing its services to rural areas. So I also felt like most of the insights it will be interesting to see if we all understand that behavioral finance teaches us about how hold on for me a moment. Come on, please. So I wanted to can you hear me? This red thing keeps popping. It's like my network is really low.
No, I can hear you. Yeah, we're okay.
Oh, you can
I know
also
this.
hear. Oh, okay. That's great. That's great. Where was I?
Behavioral finance.
Yes, so it will be interesting for me because I after understanding what behavioral finance is, that it speaks to how the psychological behaviors that are often assumed to influence market outcomes, returns, and so many different angles of observation. I wanted to understand, it might be maybe my study would be in contrary with that, or it will be affirming it. So I wanted to see, not necessarily that it's what I'm basing on, but it will be quite interesting to find what will be the outcome of it in terms of the theories of the behavioral finance, and how our people here in Botswana are responding to the banking services.
Okay,
So
okay,
yeah,
that's
the data. Okay, the data I would need is to be. Okay, you can go ahead.
No. I'm okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the data that so the data that I would need would be primary data, where I would be gathering information from all our branches across Botswana into, tapping into their response, the response of their customers in terms of their services. If it really would, I would be able to pick those challenges that they're having and see if they are, contrary to the behavioral finance or affirming it. But like I was thinking there are so many aspects of me dealing with this topic. But right now I understand we're just at the brainstorming phase. But as I go deeper into it, I'll see how I can tweak it for me to attain what I really want. Because there are so many things that I could tap into just to make it even broader, but I just don't know if that will be time consuming or it might end up making me derail from the main concept. But I'll see. I'll just sit down and devise on it until I am at the point where, obviously with the guidance of our supervisors.
Yeah. So just since you have fairly clear idea, yes, maybe you haven't narrowed your area sufficiently, but you have fairly clear idea. I think your next step will be talking to Panagiotis, and my suggestion, because you mentioned both, talking to your retail branches and talking to the actual customer as well. And by talking, I mean it could be interviews or it could be survey or whatever. I think that may be a bit too much, and possibly access to the actual customers might be difficult. So maybe limiting it to people who work in the branches and are actually familiar with the challenges that the customers are facing. Because the trouble is, yes, the customers who do not, you would not be able to access the customers who do not use the retail services. Yes, so you will be losing, your kind of the main population for whom accessing the services is a challenge. So I think maybe go via retail, your branch staff, because they will know why people are not accessing. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you
sense.
so much.
Okay, well, very good. And next time I will, yes, I'll see you on Thursday. Unless, did you want to ask something? Sorry, I think I interrupted.
I'm done. Thank you very much.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And last but not least, and by the way, everyone else can leave unless you really want to stay. We've got Ahmed. Ahmed, let's try the microphone again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh yes, we can.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, fantastic.
Sorry,
right.
sorry for the technical issues, but hopefully now it's good. It's worth it. For my actually why I didn't post any of the startup or any of that topics, because my specialism is in marketing. First of all, the supervisor is Dr. Christina. The reason why I didn't post anything is that because what I was trying to formulate was what I'm trying to do. But actually, I had something in mind coming here today. I was encouraged by Newf and Shinji, because I'm working the same field as they do, but I'm on a different side. I'm working in the pharmaceutical sales industry, what I'm trying to formulate is what does affect the consumer behavior in purchasing products or pharmaceutical products. It's almost according to the other side of what's new trying to prepare. I'm trying to decide what are the factors that affect the consumer behavior in the pharmaceutical industry. What makes
Okay,
physicians
and but
would
right. So I was about to ask, are you talking about physicians or are you talking about, you know, down
so
the line, the
for
actual
for
patients?
for us here, for me, I have three different types of customers. So the first one, physicians. The second one is pharmacists, and the third one is patients themselves, direct to the patients. So what I'm trying to formulate is what the consumer behavior for maybe one of these three types, or all of three all three of them. That's why I'm
No,
trying
no,
to
no,
formulate.
not all three. Not all three. All three is too much. Choose one, the one that's easier for you to reach, because we just talked to Shinji, as you heard, you know, and for Shinji, it would be impossible to reach physicians. Yes. For Noof, it's a different story. Yes. For Noof, it's easy to reach physicians, but for Shinji, it's not. For Noof, it would be more difficult to reach the, you know, the sellers. So see in your position, which of the three that you mentioned would be the easiest for you to reach, and go with that.
Okay, so I'll select one of these three, and the data that I would need to have is some of them maybe a primary data that I find on the library of some of the studies or research have been done on this topic.
Yeah, but that's not primary
specifically.
data collection. Yes, you know, literature review is literature review, as I keep saying, and your primary data will be the data that you will collect from either pharmacists or physicians or the patients. Well, probably pharmacists. Yes,
For me,
I think that may be
it might be
the
surveys. Yeah,
yeah.
I
Okay.
think it might be surveys and interviews. That's what I was planning to have.
Yes.
Some interviews and
Yes.
some surveys. I was planning to do that, and the reason I chose this topic because I've been working this field now for this is my 7th year working this field. Why I'm trying to do that to search for consumer behavior because my aspiration for myself later on that I would like to have my own business. So in order to have my own business and be successful in that, I need to know what drives the consumer purchasing, what drives the purchasing thought or process of thought for the decision making. So that's what was motivating me to have this topic in specific.
Wow, excellent. Absolutely great. Yes, that's a very, very good aspiration. So yeah, so that will be very helpful research both for your company and your current position, but also for your own enterprise, for your own startup when you decide to do that. But as I said, just decide. It's most likely that pharmacists would be the easiest to reach. Yes, physicians.
I agree with
Wait.
you that
Yeah.
because also pharmacists can sometimes have insights from patients themselves. So the
Of
pharmacists,
course.
they're considered as a middle line in the purchasing process, especially here where I live currently now in UAE. So customers, they are very important to customers. So yeah, I agree with you. Maybe I will stick with the pharmacist there.
Yep. Very good. So, well, I'm happy that you have a clear idea. Now we've decided who exactly you're going to focus on. Okay, so yeah, you're all set. We have fulfilled the the purpose of this seminar to you know, find and specify a research topic. So very well done, you Ahmed and everyone else, and those of you who have persevered for 2 hours. But you see, as I was saying at the start of the seminar, it's really useful because quite a few of you are working on very similar topics. So just, you know, sharing and listening to each other's ideas and what you're working on is obviously very helpful you know, in addition to me providing the feedback and all that. So these seminars serve several purposes at once. So looking forward to see you at the next seminar. But for this seminar, very well done. Pat yourself on the back, as I always say, and I'm very pleased with your progress. And it's goodbye from me for today.